was doing yesterday. So I've finished the pencils, I think, for as much as I wanted to do. I'll talk through the sketching side of it in a minute. I think I'll probably just go over this drawing so you guys can see what I'm seeing, and it's easier for me to describe that. I think as an exercise it's gone quite well. It's different to how I would normally approach the job. I normally sketch out and ink almost straight away, whereas with this project I've spent a little bit more time considering what I'm doing, and if nothing else at all, that's kind of a development in itself for me. So I'll try with the inking to do the same thing again. I've decided that with this one I'm going to probably colour it using Photoshop, even though that's my sort of comfort zone with regards to finishing. That's probably more so because I've got control over that outcome, and there's variation that I can introduce much later. I already have it in my mind that the next one I do, I'm going to be doing watercolour finish on it, so I'll start that entire process completely on a different sort of stance. Other things to talk about, I've tried to keep my website and Instagram up to date with what I'm doing, and I'll be posting short clips to those. Please go to both of those if you can. The blog you can subscribe to, and the Instagram you can subscribe to, and I do tend to post things up there that aren't generally related to this, so if you're interested from a work point of view, there'll be more work appearing on either of those two websites. If you have subscribed, thank you very much. Please subscribe if you're watching this and you are interested. And I think that's it really for what I want to say as a summary, but let's just talk about the drawing again now and where I'm at with it and what I've done. So let me grab this. What we're looking at now is the drawing as a whole. As I said before, I kind of liked the elongation of the chin and the pose that's giving off. What I've done since you probably last saw it, this is all pencils by the way still, so I spent a little bit more time around the bow and the plaits. If I can't do something or I'm not sure if it looks right, then I tend to use reference like anybody else really, but I do like to keep that reference quite loose. I'm not one for using reference because I like to think that your imagination should maybe dictate that a little bit more, whether it's completely accurate or not. For me, it doesn't really matter, but for other people it probably does. So the area here on the dress, those are obviously very uneven, and I'll probably do that in the colouring stage. I'm going to ink it anyway because I always like to finish a drawing inked. Likewise here, this pattern, I've indicated what I wanted to do. I'm not sure if I want that to be slightly more dense than maybe it appears there, so maybe I'll draw those separately and let those in, but I'll document that as I go through anyway. So I think that's probably enough. What I'll do now is I will flip back round the other way, and that's the drawing so far, and I will leave it as it is in terms of pencils and now start to move on to inking. I think I'm going to use the eddings on this to get all the line work sharp. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the line work on the hair. My temptation is to go kind of detailed and pick out lots and lots of lines. However, that maybe is a comfort thing again. I'm not sure if that's how I'll go with it or not. It may just be me freestyling that as I go through. Hopefully you'll see the development of that as I'm sketching. Once I'm done, we'll do a quick summary and then we'll talk about what we're going to do in the next episode. Right, that's the inking finished. I will now scan what I've done. Some of the things that I was working on in the sketch I've obviously equaled out now. Just grabbing my sketch book. So where we were looking at things like the plaits, that's all been amended now. The bow has been simplified. I've added some squiggles here and some other small detail mark making things just as I was sort of going along really. I don't think I'm 100% happy with how the flowers have turned out. They look very similar to some of the old ones that I'd done a long time ago. What I might do, and if I do I'll obviously update what I'm doing here, is I may redraw a selection of those separately and then scan those and let them back into this image. You may have noticed that it kind of tapers away down at the bottom here. So just the evolution of the sketch really. And my plan, as I sort of said earlier in the other episode, was to sort of fade this out in the background, and I'm still imagining that's what's going to happen. I'll just try and add some atmosphere, a bit of movement to the image, but using colour and some pattern making rather than the illustration itself with ink. Picked out some of the line work, so tried to give some tonal value to it as well. Just tricks that I've used previously, but just tried to reimagine it for this one. So I guess that's it. A bit more of a shorter episode this time around. Thank you to the people that have subscribed. As I said, please click subscribe on the button below. Comments very welcome, constructive obviously, but also any questions please feel free to ask. Check out my website, check out the Instagram, and yeah, I'll be updating shortly with either the scan or progression of the flowers. I may do that first, maybe get the flowers sorted, but I'll probably scan this maybe Tuesday. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but I might document how I'm going to process that as well. Partly what I've done in the past is use the digital camera, so like a DSLR, to shoot this flat. And that's mainly because I don't have access to an A3 printer anymore, and I quite like the idea that you can do this lo-fi. You don't have to have bags of money to process your sort of sketches through to Photoshop. In fact, what I might do, just to prove the point, I've got an iPhone 8 Plus, which is what I'm shooting everything on anyway, and I may take a flat picture of this using the Plus. I'm gonna run it through Illustrator anyway because I want to turn those lines to vectors to clean them up even more. I'm not too worried about the line fidelity and losing anything, particularly with this one. There's a bit of a cartoony style. I might have to be careful around the hair, but because I'm going to reconsider those flowers, I think I'll get away with the majority of it. But I'm planning to do a screen capture of that process so that you can see how I work, and we can talk about that later. But yeah, so for now, not sure what the next update will be. Probably flowers, and then definitely processing to colour. Thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed it.